Blacks in Technology.
Blacks in Technology. Blacks in Technology. Blacks in Technology. Blacks in Technology. Blacks in Technology.
Good evening. Welcome, everyone, to the 80th episode of the Blacks in Technology Big Tech Talk podcast. This is episode number 80. We got 20 more to go to 100, but we made it to 80. I feel good. I feel great. Thank everyone for listening, for tuning in. This is great. I never ever thought that we would actually get to this mini podcast. You know, when we started Blacks in Technology, about 5 years ago, this was just supposed to be another outlet to kind of, get people to kind of preview and showcase people of color, the talent that we have in our community. And I really never thought that I would have a podcast that would go this long and have this longevity. So I definitely appreciate everybody for listening. We got a lot of listeners on these podcasts, a lot of followers on our platform. So I definitely want to just send a shout out to everybody. Thank you. Definitely appreciate it. I'm your host, Greg Greenlee. And today is August, the 20th, Thursday, August 20th, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 6 p.m. Pacific Time. If this is your first time listening, you could check us out. You can check Blacks in Technology out at www.blacksintechnology.net. We are also on the Twitters, and that is at Black in Technology, but that's BLKINTECHNOLOGY. We're also on Facebook. Check us out, facebook.com/Blacks in Technology. And we also have a LinkedIn group, and it's constantly growing. We have over 2,100 members in our LinkedIn group, and that's under Blacks in Technology as well. And if you are on Twitter right now, if you have any questions for our guest tonight, tweet them using the hashtag BigTechTalk, BITTECHTALK. So Blacks in Technology is a tech-focused community and media organization. We're focused on increasing diversity in technology. We're always focused on forming new partnerships and opportunities to assist our members with their continued professional growth and development. If you would like to partner with us, send us an email to partnerships@blacksintechnology.net. Any general inquiries that you have, send an email to contact us at blacksintechnology.net. And if you want to sponsor one of these fabulous incredible podcast, you want to get your company or your product or whatever in front of our listening audience and our network, send us an email to sponsorship@blacksintechnology.net. So I do have a few announcements. Some of them you've heard already. A couple of them are new. DevOps Day Chicago is going on August 25th and 26th at the University of Chicago Gleacher Center. It's a 2-day community-driven technical conference that focuses on bridging the gap between development and operations. If you know anything about DevOps, if you'd like to attend DevOps, shoot me an email because we have some free passes to the DevOps Day Chicago. So if you're in that area and you're interested in the DevOps movement, shoot us an email to contact us at blacksintechnology.net. Tell us why you are interested in the conference and why you're interested in DevOps, and you could receive a pass to DevOps Day Chicago. If you want to learn more about the event or you want to submit a proposal, it's probably too late for proposals, but if you want to learn more about the event, check out DevOpsDayShy.org. So that's DevOpsDaysShy.org. Also, it's just still time for registration, and there's a 25% discount to our community members using the code BIT25, BIT25. You'll receive a 25% discount on the registration. So that's DevOps Days Chicago. And there also is going to be a DevOps Days Ohio. That's happening in Columbus, Ohio, November 18th and 19th. And it's at the Bluestone in Columbus, Ohio. And they are actually having a call for proposals right now. The deadline for that is September 18th at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you have a talk that you would like to be heard, I urge our members, our community members, if you're into DevOps, if you have something to contribute, please, please, please sign up or try to put in a call for proposal. Put in a talk, see whether or not you can get selected. We need to have more people of color up on stage presenting these technical talks. I'm actually going to present a talk myself. So I'm encouraging people in the community to, if you're in the Columbus, Ohio area or in the area, Midwest area, you can make it there. Definitely submit a talk to DevOps Days Ohio. Now, we don't have registration codes for it as of yet, but we are working on that. We're going to have some free passes to give away to that as well, and we're also going to have a discount code for those who don't receive the free pass to that event as well. So that's DevOps Day Chicago, November 18th and 19th at the Bluestone in Columbus, Ohio. Last but not least, PuppetConf 2015. That is happening August 5th through the 9th, and that's going on in Portland, Oregon. Last year was in San Fran. This year it's in Portland. Registration is open. And let's see, sessions will range from how to get started with Puppet, modules, and related technologies to advanced tips and tricks for using Puppet, PuppetDB, Razor, or Factor. So that's 2015.puppetconf.com. Check that out. We've been working with Puppet Labs in the past. In the past, we've had some free tickets to give out to that as well as a discount code. So hopefully we'll have something soon. Just keep checking the website, blacksandtechnology.net, for more information on that. All right, so we're going to get into it, to this podcast. We have a wonderful guest tonight. We're going to talk about a wonderful startup that's based here in Cincinnati, Ohio. So big up to Cincinnati. And I'm actually happy because I think 2 out of the last 3 podcasts, I've actually tapped into the Cincinnati startup scene, thanks to Candace Peters. So shout out to Candace and her Hello Parent startup. And she's gotten me in tune with the startup scene here in Cincinnati, which I have to kind of ashamed to admit that I wasn't really in tune with. I kind of looked out everywhere else instead of looking here in our city. But now that I'm connected and I'm in that space, I want to try to bring more of the talent here that we have in Cincinnati to the show. So tonight I'm glad to present Bjorn Simmons. He's a 26-year-old entrepreneur. He's an activist and co-founder of the tech startup company Wiser. He's a first-generation graduate from the University of Arkansas, where he received his BA in Marketing Management and Entrepreneurship at the Sam M. Walton College of Business. And so I want to bring him onto the show. Thank you, Bjorn, for joining us tonight.
Hey, man, thanks, Greg, for having me, man. I'm really excited to be here. Love what you're doing with Blacks in Technology. It's pretty cool.
Definitely appreciate that. And we kind of met, not in person. We kind of met through kind of a teleconference thing. Yeah, so that was pretty cool. Again, shout out to Candace for making all that happen. So give us some information about yourself, your background, where you're from, your education, things like that.
Okay. Yeah, man. My name is Bjorn Simmons. Most people know me by BK. I'm originally from North Little Rock, Arkansas. I'm born and raised in the South. Grew up in North Little Rock, moved to Little Rock at an older age, and then I graduated from the University of Arkansas up in Fayetteville in 2011. So like you said in my bio, I'm 26. I'm relatively young, but I'm one of those millennials, so I've been all over the place a little bit. After graduating college, I moved out to Atlanta and started working in politics, man. I was working for the House of Representatives, Georgia House of Representatives, under the leadership of Stacey Abrams and Representative Carolyn Hughley, and quickly rose up, became the chief of staff, got bit by the politics bug, and was doing a lot of work on, it's real, man. The politics bug is something that's very relevant in that world and in that space. It was kind of cool because, the show Scandal had just came out, and I'm on the senior staff team, and we were addicted to Scandal, so we called ourselves the Gladiators because we were we were all corralled up, fighting the cause. But I learned a lot as far as, my professional development, my leadership abilities. I was groomed there at the Georgia House of Representatives there in Atlanta, and I can never take back what I learned. One of my most prized projects was being able to work compensation resolution for a guy named Lathan Word. He was wrongfully convicted for robbery at the age of 18, and worked very hard over 10 years, spent over 10 years in prison before he was finally able to get an appeal. He reached out to our office, and it took us 2 years, man, to get this man compensated. But happy enough to announce that we were able to do that. And so from then on, the activist in me just kind of grew. So stayed there for a while. And stayed there for a while, and eventually my friend and I, Stedman, who I went to college with, we started like a freelance marketing organization called the Mint Group, MEANT, Marketing, Entertainment, Advertising, Networking, and Talent. It was like a freelance marketing operation to allow college students and freelancers the opportunity to do some big brand investments and projects and stuff like that. And went to South by Southwest, and it changed my entire life. And now I'm a techie.
Excellent. Well, we're happy to have you as part of the techie family.
Yeah, man.
There's a lot of people that it's funny because I run into a lot of black people of color that actually migrated from kind of some of them from the entertainment business itself, some of them from music, but from that spectrum of the industry into tech. And it's funny because it feels, even I was, dibble and dabble in music kind of back in the day, and it's funny how natural that migration that transition felt. That you go from entertainment, marketing, music, and then that transition to tech is almost, it feels seamless.
That's true. Yeah, man, I definitely agree. It's like that. I think technology is an art form in itself, man. Right. From the apps to the creative designs to the web pages, all these new innovations. It's just a form of artistic expression in themselves, man. So I think it's a strong correlation between the entertainment industry, marketing, and definitely technology for sure.
How'd you make your way to Cincinnati?
So Wiser, which is a company I work for now, happy to be a part of the team. Wiser is here in the Brandery Venture Accelerator Program, which is an incubator for startups, and we got here about 9 weeks ago in June, and it's been great, man. And they totally opened the doors to Cincinnati and the renaissance that's going on here, and provided us with a great platform to kind of grow and scale our company, and as well as enhance our skills as entrepreneurs and co-founders as well. So
was the company before the Brandery, or did the Brandery have a hand in kind of bringing some of you together, and then, or did you have Wiser before, and then you kind of came into the Brandery, and that's how you wound up here in Cincinnati?
Good question. Our CEO, my co-founder, Natasha Malahalo, she is great at what she does, and so we actually started Wiser at a previous incubator, StartFast New York, last summer in Syracuse. And at this point in time, I was a full-time consultant running the Mint Group. Stedman and Natasha had a previous startup called Sooligan they had worked on, and I had worked on with them at a project at South by Southwest in Austin earlier that year. This is 2014. And so that summer, in StartFast, Natasha goes, she enrolls Sooligan, and when she gets there, it's this crazy story, but it's true. When she gets there, and soon after, the investors there told her that Sooligan was pretty much a shitty idea, and she had 48 hours to come up with a new business. And so I don't know what happened, but Natasha and Stedman, they jumped on this Google Hangout, And the next day, I get a call from Stedman saying, "Hey, I got to go to New York. We're going to work on a campaign, or we're going to work on a project with Natasha to do point of sale surveys for consumers and big brands. And she's in this incubator program and needs our help." I dropped everything and said, "You cannot do this without me. Come pick me up. I'll be ready tonight." And so we drove from Arkansas all the way to New York to join Natasha and help her out. And so that's where Wiser began, man. It began in an incubator last summer. And so we're just a year into the program. We bootstrapped up until now. This is our first time as a team, as a trifecta, coming together. The brandy afforded us the opportunity through their new brandery house, which they opened this year. So we all live together, we work together, and we came here to really just scale the idea and concept that we kind of came up with last year.
That's a pretty interesting story. Man, Arkansas to New York. And this is, just for me personally, because I just drove from Cincinnati to South Carolina. How far of a drive is Arkansas to New York? That's got to be, what, 14, 15 hours?
Oh, man, it was over 20-something hours. And and me being the adventurous spirit that I am, I took the opportunity since we were road tripping hey, Stephen, we're going to stop in Nashville. We're going to stop in Lake Erie. We're going across the country. We got to stop and see some sights, So we just made that road trip. I mean, it was going to be long regardless, so we can tag team this thing out. But Stephen has a Camaro, so there was a two-seater that we made the entire trip in.
Well, at least when you do a road trip, you're doing it in style. If you got a Camaro, right?
It's fun, man. And I mean, as a result of that road trip, I'm here now talking to you guys, so I don't regret a thing.
That's excellent. So you mentioned Stedman, you mentioned Natasha. What? And those are your team members.
Yes.
Are there any other team members? And what are their roles?
So we do have a data scientist, Frankie. He's out in L.A., so Natasha is from L.A., and after we left New York, her and Stedman went back out to L.A. to, continue to build the business, and they connected with Frankie and Craig, who's also on our team. He's been a great advisor and an angel investor for us. So that's the integral team. Right now, we also have Basit, who's our CTO and developer. So that's pretty much been the team since we've been here in the brandery, for sure.
So, if you could describe their roles, what do they do on a day? What's their role on a day-to-day?
Well, of course, being startup founders and co-founders, everybody has to wear multiple hats.
Right.
Natasha is of course. Natasha is the lead programmer and CEO, and she also handles a lot of the finances and things like that. Stedman is the UX UI design master, so he's constantly drafting new ideas and concepts for Wise, as well as upgrading the smartphones that we have, working with our marketing partners. And then I play the sales and marketing role. So I'm constantly working with clients, talking to clients, pitching, trade shows. My job is to get clients into our funnel and get them to close the deal, and then to continue to nurture those relationships to continue to build Wise's brand awareness and scale our company.
Very interesting. And for all those out there who say that there's no for one, people of color are founders, but the second part of it is that she's a woman. So that's dope.
Yeah.
And she's the lead programmer. So she's the lead programmer, she's the CEO, she's a founder, she's a woman of color, and we applaud that. We celebrate that, because that's dopeness right there. I love hearing that.
Natasha is awesome, man. We have a truly minority-found team, So I think it's an awesome position that we are in. I don't think we really realize the opportunity that we can champion this position as much as it's been presented to us, especially being here in the brand as of recently. So I think it's in itself is a blessing. Natasha is great. She's so dedicated and passionate about what she does, and a tremendous CEO as far as her leadership. And I'm a huge fan of the Myers-Briggs test, and so I had each of us do a Myers-Briggs test recently, and her personality type turned out to be the commander. So she's definitely in the right position.
Nice.
Yeah, man, she's great. Like I said, we have a very fortunate opportunity to be able to be one of the what I would consider one of the hottest new startups in startup land, and also to be operated by minorities, including a female founder, CEO.
Very nice, very nice. So let's get into what Wiser is. What is Wiser, and why should we care about Wiser?
Okay, yeah, man. I hadn't even realized we hadn't answered that question, but Wiser, Wiser is an improvement company. So we focus on improving the life of businesses through the experiences of their customers. How we've chosen to do this is to disrupt the survey market, because if you notice, contemporary surveys are long, boring, and cumbersome, and they don't meet the new digital age consumer. And so we identified that problem and trying to find a communication means between brands and consumers, where brands will actually use the information from consumers to tailor their experiences to increase profits and increase or identify better business practices. We create our smartphone technology, which is, I wouldn't say it replaces a contemporary survey, but it's an adjacent tool to really help complement that market, get more data, and also meet the consumers where they are and at their smartphone, which everybody seems to have right now.
Right. So who is this product? Who did you design this product for? What does it enable them to do, or do better?
Okay. Yeah, man. So great question. Our product was built to give businesses a way to curate their experience. We call ourselves a hybrid company. We're a market research company. We're a consumer engagement company, and we're also a management consulting company, because we are able to reach your customers in a unique and engaging way. We can offer actionable insights back to your business, which you can use to inevitably increase profitability, increase customer satisfaction, just increase the overall experience of your business. So we're really creating a new communication stream, and we're using data to do that. It's powered by data. And, you know, the whole data revolution is happening right now, and Wiser has jumped in full throttle to increase that engagement to the consumers. You know, contemporary surveys are meeting less than 10% of customers out there. And so if a business is measuring its practices and its efficiency and effectiveness on less than 10% of the people who are paying them, how valuable is that data? So we created what we believe is a tool to help increase that engagement rate, increase that completion rate, and then allow businesses to ultimately make better decisions through their best or most valuable stakeholder, which is their customer.
Very cool, and I agree. So, for one, let's talk about a little bit about data and data analytics and how important it is to these businesses, because and what people don't know is one of the biggest, I guess, data analytics type companies around is based out of here in Cincinnati, Ohio, which is dunnhumby. They are huge with data. And this whole data revolution is going on to be able to extract information from data so that you can use that information to better serve your customers and better understand your customers. That's valuable. That's gold to companies right now, which is why I guess you guys got a data scientist on your team. So I mean that's really cool that you all have come up with a product that is capitalizing on what's going on this trend of data, big data, right now. So tell us a little bit more about how Wiser does this. I know you have a thing called Smart Farms, and reading on your site about kind of what Wiser is. You guys kind of take a game approach to the whole thing. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so Wiser, we don't call our surveys. We call our questionnaires smart forms. And our smart forms are interactive questionnaires. We put a lot of focus on the user experience and interactions with our smart forms. They're dynamic, they're hyper-responsive, and they do, like you said, look and feel like games. And if you think about the addictive nature of mobile games like Candy Crush and Trivia Crack, they've made it to where people are constantly engaging with their phones. And so kind of what Wiser has done is taken that addictive nature, combined it with big data in brands and consumers, and try to create a platform that can be universally effective for both businesses and consumers. We use the color theory, which is using colors like red, blue, yellow, and green to provide a universal language so that people can easily understand. We have logic jumps that jump from question to question to kind of use randomization and provide an effective tactic to get the best data from each customer. We have voice-to-text technology, just thinking about the impact of reviews now on purchasing behavior. You can actually give that qualitative data or speak directly back to brands through our voice-to-text technology. And then our designs are just really dynamic. They're bright, brilliant designs, and, of course, they're fast. All of our smart forms are built to get up to 25 questions or answer up to 25 questions in less than 60 seconds. So it's we want to create that addictive nature, a natural habit of giving feedback, and we think we've taken a really unique approach to doing so.
That's pretty cool, because then you kind of, and coming from my experience from taking surveys, I hate them. Right?
Yeah.
To be honest, you get to as a matter of fact. So I was on Cincinnati.com, and that's Cincinnati's kind of online publication that gives us the news and things like that. And they have this thing now that whenever you want to read more about an article on Cincinnati.com, they want you to take this survey.
Answer a question.
And it's a pop-up, and it's only one question. And you know what? I hate it. I will not answer that one question for anything. If it pops up during the time that I'm reading that article, I will click off that article. If anybody from Cincinnati.com is listening to this, use Wiser instead. It might make it a lot better, more pleasurable experience, because I will instantly click off that article, even if it's something very interesting. I'm like, no surveys for me, and I'll go to something else. So it's good to hear that you all are making this a more pleasurable and experience for surveys, because I think it's needed. It's a pain point. People don't like filling out surveys, even if it's something that they want. So tell me this. What are you guys doing to
is what they want to get through so they can read an article, but they give you a quick, easy, simple data that's valuable to your business. And then also we want to be able to prove that we can get more data at this high rate, since we focus on speed as much as we do. Right.
And that speed has contributed to the completion rate of the survey, correct?
Exactly. And then we're also doing some tests with trying to figure out which demographic is better. Of course, like I said earlier, Wiser may not be replacing a Survey Monkey, but it could be the perfect tool to meet a college student who you just want to find how the experience was at the game or at the Friday Night Lights event. You know what I mean? We can ask a simple questionnaire, deploy it directly to their phone, and our engagement rate is really going to be focused on deployment as far as getting people to click through rate and getting people to actually access the surveys. Of course, we can deploy a unique URL code via email, via text message, and things like that. But we're testing out some new technologies here in the near future on ways to be able to just ping phones directly. So some may be using open Wi-Fi, geofencing, iBeacon technology, or maybe even Listener, who's right here in Cincinnati. Shout out to Roger Williams.
Big up to Listener. Yeah.
Big up to Listener. After we validate our product as being that effective tool, we'll be moving more so into increasing that engagement rate and identifying the best ways to do so. So we have tested out using kiosks, but we also want to be as mobily friendly and focused as possible.
Nice, very nice, very nice. And yeah, I mean, the approach you all are taking, not just from the gaming perspective of it, but even the perspective of using these colors to kind of entice people to take these surveys is definite. Because, like I said, I fill out surveys, or I get approached with surveys all the time, and nobody likes looking at boring text. And,
black and white,
right? Clicking the bubble or check marking 3 or 4 boxes. That stuff is it's just so mundane, and it's just it's just not a good experience. So it's great to see you guys taking a new approach to this.
Yeah, man.
So have you all had any? I know you're part of this accelerator. We're going to talk a little bit about the brandery here in a second. But do you have any customers right now, or how does that looking?
Yeah, so we've done, before we came to the brand, we had worked with about 23 different clients, of course, doing pilot studies and things like that to test out our product. We've done a pilot with Rakuten. We've done a pilot with speakers such as Dr. Charity Smith. We've done now we're moving in more to a scalability approach, and so we're building out a SaaS platform where people will be able to go in and use our Wiser Creation Wizard and be able to create a survey fast and then deploy it just as fast, or a smart form, and be able to deploy it just as fast. And so our SaaS platform allows anybody to be able to go online, kind of the same way when you're using our competitors such as SurveyMonkey and Typeform, be able to go online, use our Creation Wizard, create your smart form, and deploy it using maybe a unique URL code. So that's taking a scalability approach. We're also talking to some companies such as, just this week we've had conversations with Google, Yelp, Volkswagen. But as far as the markets that we really want to penetrate, we're going after the e-commerce space and trying to identify channel partners to help us scale quickly, because we understand that we have a product that has to scale quickly and fast, and the time is now. And so by identifying those strong partners and getting the right pilots, we think we'll be able to do that and go after market share, because that'll really create and cement us as an effective business long term.
Wow. And just hearing some of the big names that you're talking to, when that time comes, you guys are going to have to be ready to move, because the companies that you mentioned are the companies that move, and they move quickly at scale.
Yeah.
So, that's excellent. That's excellent. So, have you all? I know you said before that you all had bootstrapped everything up until a certain point. Have you all gotten any funding up right now, or how's that working?
We are actively fundraising right now while we're in the brandery.
Okay.
So we're just now starting to fundraise. Of course, that's a scale as well. Build out our team, bring in some more developers to help us out. So we have opened up that process, and working with, I know I mentioned, and going back, I want to go back to your previous questions a little bit, but I know I was mentioning the big players, but we also are working with some small and mid-sized businesses as well, as far as just transposing their current survey into a wiser, smart form, or offering them a kiosk that they can put in their native stores, their brick and mortar stores, to just kind of collect their customer data as well. So we're going after the big players to scale quickly, because we understand that we have competitors out there, but we're not eliminating ourselves from the small and mid-sized businesses. And I know some of my mentors, if they're listening, they probably hate that I just said that, because their marketing strategy is focus, target, and create a niche. But maybe we're that unique unicorn that can scale across multiple levels and multiple industries. And so we'll see how this works, or maybe we'll identify a champion, but that whole process is going to be done here while we're in the brandery.
That's excellent. And I like hearing how on top of your game that you guys are. It feels good to me to hear about a company such as yours that have people that are keen to what's going on in the startup place, and you're throwing all these terms out there, which is very cool. But I love it because people need to hear that we have people that's in this space that are keen to what's going on, and that are in this space and navigating this space really well, and you guys know what you're doing. So whenever I hear stuff like that, it just, I get this feeling like, I got that fist pump going in the background. So,
well, let me know, man. Let me know, man, if I'm, talking in too much tech jargon. I've been,
not at all.
Brandery for 9 weeks straight, living and working in technology. So I'm submerged in it. So I'm on tech. I've earned my stripes now.
No, you know what? Here's why I like hearing tech talk, right? Because it gets people curious, right? So people are wondering, you might say some marketing term or something that involves tech startup world, and people are wondering, well, what does that mean, right?
Yeah,
even if you only go about explaining it right now on this show, that'll give them incentive to get out there on the internet and Google it.
And go Google it.
Right. Now they're learning, and now they're understanding what it's about. Then they can bring it back. They can listen to the podcast again, and they can put it in context, and they can say, oh, I didn't know, that was a thing, or that you should do that as a startup. So I don't like, everything doesn't have to be broken down for the layman, right? Curiosity is going to spark, people to research and people to investigate, so they can learn a little bit more and they can up their knowledge as well. And we need that. We need more of that, so, run with it, man. I definitely love hearing that.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that.
No problem. So we're going to talk a little bit about your time at the Brandery. So you're part of this accelerator program here in Cincinnati called the Brandery Venture Accelerator Program. Tell us what that experience has been like. What have you learned as far as, what to do and what not to do, and any other, bumps and bruises along the way? Give us some nuggets about that.
I feel like, doctors go to med school, MBAs go to business school. I think techies go to incubators and accelerators, and especially startup founders. It's a great place to submerge yourself in with like-minded people. Everybody is just as ambitious as you are. Everybody is just as smart and creative, and they're pursuing this passion. I think the startup incubator venture accelerator world, if done correctly, is a beautiful place. It's a place where dreams can be achieved. It's like working for Disney. Almost. Of course, only your success is built on what you put into it, and I think that's really a valuable thing that I've learned here. It's all about what you put in. You're going to get out what you put in, and that's not necessarily just the work you do or the emails that you send, but it's also about the connections that you make, the relationships
Right.
that you build, the goals that you set for yourself. You know what I mean? How the way you start maintaining and treating yourself, how you're able to balance your new lifestyle as opposed to your previous lifestyle before you came here. And it definitely challenges you. It's not easy. I won't say that at all. It challenges you to step out of your comfort zone oftentimes, to be able to discipline yourselves in situations where you may not have exercised discipline before. And then also it challenges your ambition as far as how far do you really want to go. And I think that's something that I learned here being in the brandery. I didn't think I understood the magnitude of the opportunities that the brandery will provide. And so initially when we came here, we were focused on small and mid-sized businesses. And I remember about a month ago, and I was getting ready to do validation testing. And I was telling mentors, so this is what I'm going to do. And I come from a political background, so, going door to door is my thing. Like, I just go talk to everybody. And so I was like, look, I got a list of 250 companies right here in OTR, Cincinnati, and I'm just going to go out, me and the team, and we're just going to go out and knock on every door and talk to every business owner and ask them to try Wiser so we can get a pilot campaign. They looked at me like, good luck. Of course, they respected the ambition of it. But at the same time, one of the mentors, Tony, took me to the side and he said, hey, really identify who you want us to make an introduction to for you, for you, and we'll foster that. That's what we're here for. And so I had to scale back from, me taking this grassroots approach and say, okay, which company do we really want to go after to really help us scale? Because we're only here for a limited time, right? So it changed my perspective totally and my strategy totally. And so that was a huge learning lesson for me, especially being in sales and marketing. And I wouldn't, as a bootstrapping company, anybody is a potential client. And I think the branding has definitely taught us to be very strategic and choose where we want to go and be very adamant about that, and diligent as well as to who you are, who you want to be, and stay focused to that. So that was really a valuable lesson that I've learned just so far, and we still got 6 more weeks to go.
Nice. And that just speaks to the mindset of people that are running these accelerator programs. And I kind of want to tell a short story real quick about that mindset, right? And one of my close friends, Ayori Selassie, she's out in San Francisco, so she's part of that whole scene, that tech startup scene out there. I remember talking to her one night about something with Blacks in Technology, where a gentleman had made a comment via direct message to me about what Blacks in Technology was trying to be. And at that point, this was probably a couple of years ago, I really hadn't thought that far in advance. I really didn't think that that broad. And so he asked me, like, are you trying to be like a black Facebook for black techies? Right? And at that time, my mindset was small. And I was like, no, why would I try to take on Facebook? We're already a niche within a niche. We're black and we're techs, blah, 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 blah. And she stopped me dead in my tracks, and she said, you know what? You're thinking too myopic. And I was just like, hold on for a second. Let me Google myopic. I don't know what that means. That was my first reaction. So then I was like, okay, so why do you say that? She was like, you're only thinking about your small area, right?
Yep.
You're only thinking about, and at that time it was, black techs out of the United States.
Right.
Right. She was like, yeah, and you're not even encompassing everybody from it, right? So at the time, we were more focused on engineers. And so she's like, you're not thinking about the other people that are part of the tech world that helps to make tech move along and grow and things like that. You're not thinking about the entrepreneurs. You're not thinking about the marketing people out there. You're not thinking about the UI UX people, and you're not thinking about Africa. You're not thinking about globally the black people around the world that could grow your community to something much bigger than just, here in the United States.
Right.
And I guess my point is, it took that type of mindset, that kind of accelerator, that startup, that kind of Bay Area mindset, because I was thinking too small. I was just thinking about here and nothing outside of that. And I kind of and from what your story, from what you're telling me in your story, that's kind of what that mentor kind of brought you to the side and had you think like, hey, you need to think a little bit larger than just here. It's a big world. That's what we're here for, and we're here to kind of be that proxy between you and that bigger world. So utilize that. So it's amazing how they kind of view things, and how they kind of bring us into that space as well. So that's excellent.
Sure. Well, your mentors and incubators like the brand are supposed to be catalysts to your success. You know what I mean? That's what you work with them for. That's why you apply. That's why you enroll into things like that. But I think what the beautiful thing is what it is when you do become a success and your mentality changes, you also start to understand the effects that it has on like the economic status of a community. You know what I mean? Urban development, right here in Cincinnati, what they've been able to do here in OTR is just fascinating. Fascinating to say the least. You know what I mean? And their investment in entrepreneurs, and I've lived in a number of places, I've never seen it at the rate that they're doing it here. And there's something to be said about that. You know what I mean? I think other cities are, if startups like Wiser are able to accomplish what we set out to accomplish in a place like Cincinnati. A lot of cities across the world are going to have to look here and see what did they do right, and what opportunities or they open themselves. Me being an activist and everything, it's always been on the premise of opportunity. I'm one of those big dreamers that say anybody can be anywhere in the world. It's just this big open playground. You just got to figure out what you want to play on. And this is, situations like this are just very fortunate. I really can't speak highly enough about how I appreciate, people being just supporting entrepreneurs and chasing their dreams, man, because it's one of the hardest decisions you make when you leave your job, you leave corporate America, and decide that you're going to pursue something that you're extremely passionate about. You're going to lose friends, you're going to lose family members, and especially as a minority, where you come into a situation where you don't think anybody can relate to you, or there's already a skepticism when you walk into the room. You know what I mean?
Right.
You have a lot to overcome, and it's a lot. Sometimes you have to evaluate that risk, and so it takes some strong-minded, strong-willed people. But when you have a strong support system, such as what the Brandery, I believe, is providing here, and I know many other venture accelerators are doing, I hope so, across the globe. But when you have that strong support system, it is very encouraging, and success almost seems inevitable if you do what you're supposed to do.
Very nice, very nice. And we're going to talk about, I like some of the points that you touched on as far as, the economic development that's happening and over the Rhine. And I don't know how far back you go as far as your time here in Cincinnati, but, there was definitely a time in over the Rhine where you didn't want to be caught dead in over the Rhine. Let's put it like that. And it's made a total 180 from that. A lot of thriving businesses and a lot of great tech scenes that's going on down there. So let's touch on that a little bit because I recently was introduced to Candace Peters, and she reached out to me on our Blacks Technology website, and talked to her, and she's was telling me about this group of African American founders here in Cincinnati, and that's how I met you as well. So explain to us what this group is about, what the motivation was behind starting the group, and why you think it's important to the tech scene here in Cincinnati.
Um, I was super excited about starting the Black Founders Network because it's a support system. You know what I mean? Even though you're
Right.
around like-minded people in your cohort at the Brandery, you're around people that can relate to you and they're going to have very similar experiences with you, being in the Black Founders Network. And it's not to create a separate entity outside of what we have within our cohort. It's more of a piece of the puzzle. You know, that's how I
Right.
like to think of it. It's a piece of the puzzle to help us, as minorities, stay encouraged, be able to have a place where we can go vent where things may not go our way. We'll also be able to talk about societal issues. You know, it's a known fact that every week another black male is getting killed, by a police officer around the nation. You know, it's on the CNN
Right.
or whatever. So if I have a bad day, because I'm tired of seeing this, I can't take that to the Brandy. I can't take that to work because it's not the place for that. But I can go to Black Founders Network and be able to get that support. In the same way with fundraising or issues with clients or trying to identify the best strategy, legal documentations, how to work with team members and things like that. If you have a network that can support you when you fall down and you know that they're there and unconditionally, is very effective and encouraging. So I think it's more of an empowerment organization. And then the other thing that I think has really motivated the growth of Black Founders Network is the ability to join the renaissance that's going on in Cincinnati and this big tech boom that's happening across the globe.
Right.
Minorities have to be a part of the conversation, but you also need pioneers to lead that conversation. So you need role models, and I think that's what the Black Founders Network is doing. We're providing a voice for the minorities, and we're also establishing ourselves and taking on a responsibility to be that role model. Candace Peters is the startup mom. Like, you can ask anybody who in Cincinnati that I've met, she is the startup mom. She's chosen to take on that role and now expand that through the Black Founders Network. And that's, something to be said about that. And it's really going to be interesting to see how, organizations like Centrifuge and others, funds and initiatives to promote economic development through entrepreneurship and technology, see how they're going to welcome the Black Founders Network or Black founders into the conversation. So I think Centrifuge has done a great job. Eric Wiseman, that's how you and I met, connecting over the conversation about diversity through Centrifuge and what they're doing over at Cincy Tech. So I think it's really important for us to do it. And also, again, we're able to draw those connections in for one another, and then also be a role model for people who may be interested in becoming tech founders or even entrepreneurs. So
right. And I want to touch on something that you said that I've said before, and I think is super important. And it's more along the lines of this is not a group created to be separate. I think that's important because you get outsiders that look at something like Blacks in Technology or the Black Founders Group that's going on here in Cincinnati, or any organization out there that's geared towards helping to empower Black people in technology or any other industry, and they automatically assume that, oh, you're trying to be separate. How come you just can't?
Right.
I mean, you just can't be it. And it's not about that, right? And I always use the analogy of the Negro Leagues back in the day, right?
Sure.
It was a necessity for them to do it because, for one, they weren't even allowed to play in the major leagues at that time, right? They weren't allowed to showcase their talents, and they needed that support system to keep them going, right?
Yep.
But at the same time, it was a vehicle for them to be included. And I always like to make that a point. This is not about exclusion. This is about inclusion. This is about us being included in the bigger picture. And we need that support system the same way everyone else has had a support system. We need that support system right now to allow us to be included in this bigger picture, in this tech boom, and this tech industry that's going on that's helping to empower economically everybody across the globe. And it seems like, that we've been left on the outside, and now we have to be included in that whole thing. And so
Sure.
people talk about, oh, you're trying to, no, this is about inclusion. And if you understand what the overall goal is for this, the goal is for this not to exist at all. Just like the Negro Leagues back in the day.
Yeah.
It eventually evolved to the point to where they didn't have to have a Negro Leagues anymore because the major leagues recognized the talent and they recognized the people involved and everything like in the movement, and now they are part of the major leagues. And that is basically what this whole movement. That's what the goal of this whole movement is to eventually. I don't want this to exist. I don't want there to be a need for this at all. We have this, I want just as many role models who look like me, walk like me, talk like me, as anybody else, as any other culture.
Yeah. And then you also can think of it. Oh, my bad. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, I didn't mean to cut you off at all, but I was just saying that.
I was done with my thought.
I was just going to say, you also have to think about anything that's new needs curators, you know what I mean? So I think that's the kind of responsibility that the Black Founder Network is kind of taking on. And all of, blacks in technology, anytime it's a black-focused thing, I will hope so, at least believe the millennial focus is that we're here to groom our group, you know what I mean? So especially with the Black Founders Network, and we speak about this all the time, is that we're taking on a responsibility to where when you need or you're looking for a black minority startup or a minority developer, that we have the best of the best that you can choose from because we've taken on the responsibility of grooming them ourselves. It's a new thing to join the technology. The tech wave has just now boomed. Most African Americans have been raised to chase labor-intensive jobs. You know what I mean? It's just like with anything, engineering, computer engineering, civil engineering, now technology and coding. It's a new language, Education is going to be key, of course, but you also need mentors and role models, and if we're able to kind of curate that within ourselves, it'll help us. It'll be more effective to be able to translate that to other majority groups. So I think it's just an effective tool. It's not a means to disrupt by any means, for sure.
Right. And so, continuing this, this conversation about diversity and technology, and all the opportunities tech can afford people of color in the communities that we come from, and there's this whole awareness, this movement that's going on to bring more awareness around these opportunities. And just from us talking, I know you feel a deep responsibility to champion that cause. But what else do you feel needs to be done on that front? What are some things that you look at as the landscape of what's going on and with tech diversity? And you say, hey, you know what? We still need to do this.
Mm-hmm. That's a really good question. I think a lot of grooming has to take place. Oftentimes, we feel, or even I felt in my professional experience, that when I walk into a situation that I have to automatically be perfect. And if you don't have a resource group, especially if your family doesn't understand this is something new outside of your native comfort or your native zone, you need that grooming. You need a place to go and polish up and somebody to tell you, hey, you're doing this right and hey, you're doing this wrong, and this is how you can help or improve. I think that's one thing that nurturing is going to be really important as far as we move forward, especially in the minority population. As far as in general, in tech development as a whole and diversity, you really just have to, incubators like the Brandy are fantastic. Mortar, a program here in Cincinnati, is a fantastic program just for entrepreneurs. Things, you have to be programmatic within. Then education is always going to be the key. You have to get your education institutions involved, and then parents have to champion education. If you notice that your child is more engaged in the computer than they are in in sports,
right,
take that as a good thing. You know what I mean? Evolve that, nurture that, you know what I mean? Put them in situations where they can cultivate that skill because it's going to be useful. It's proven to be useful now and will be even more valuable in the near future. So it's all about being open to new people, new ideas. Innovation is here. It's not something that you're going to be able to stop. It's not something that you're going to be able to block. I think it's something that should be well received and like I said, nurtured and curated, man. Cities have to realize that they have to open the table. The old vanguard has to let loose. Millennials are increasing in purchasing power. We're increasing in ideology. We're increasing in this whole tech space and tech boom. Bring us to the table when you're making native decisions about us as well. You know what I mean? That's the politician in me coming out, but that is a serious thing. You know, don't let diversity be an afterthought. I think that's the most important thing that these cities, these investment groups, these big companies like Google and Facebook, you have Jesse Jackson out campaigning saying, hey, you need more diversity in the workplace. Hey, it may be very valid for them to respond saying we need more qualified candidates. You can't get angry about that. What you do is you take that back and you go find those qualified candidates, or you produce those qualified candidates. Then you bring it back to the table and say, hey, here we go. But the conversation just has to be open. You have to be open-minded about things now and think with the big picture and not with a limited view.
Excellent. Definitely some great insight, and I agree 100% with everything that you touched on. So before we get out of here, is Wiser available to anyone? How can folks get access to it? What's the deal with that right now?
Yeah, man, Wiser is up and ready. So just visit our website. We'll be producing a new website here shortly, but you can go on our website right now, www.wizer.com, and request a demo. We'll respond back instantly. And what we're doing, we're running a campaign right now called Recycle Your Survey. So if you have an old survey and you just want to see what it looks like as a Wiser smartphone, send it to us. I mean, you can email me personally. My email address is Bjorn, BJORN, @Wizer, again, WYZERR.com, and send me your survey. Say, hey, I want to see what this looks like as a smartphone or as a Wiser smartphone, and we'll do that for you. We'll be happy to transpose that for you to show you that Wiser is a new and effective tool, and hopefully that is a better tool for you. So website, we're on social media, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. Our LinkedIn page is growing, Twitter, of course. So, yeah, just connect with us. We're open and receiving everyone.
Excellent. And so you just gave out all of your URLs and everything like that. So anybody who is looking to have them on a podcast of their own, check them out at wizer.com, @Wizer, WYZERR, on Twitter. You gave the other handles as well. Bjorn, I definitely want to thank you for joining us here tonight. Definitely offered some great insight and let us hear what you're all about, what Wiser is all about. We wish you much success.
Hey man, thank you for having me, man, and kudos to you, man, for all that you're doing, man. Happy to be involved.
No doubt. We're definitely, I know Candace put together some meetups here for the Black Founders Network here, so we'll definitely be meeting up pretty soon, and get together, we'll chat, and we'll chop it up.
All right, man. Looking forward to it.
Excellent. Take care, man.
All right. Thanks, Greg. Bye.
You're welcome. And that's it for this episode of the Blacks in Technology Bit Tech Talk podcast. I want to thank all of our listeners for tuning in tonight. I definitely want to thank our guest, Bjorn Simmons of Wiser. If you like what you heard tonight and want to let us know, if you have any suggestions or comments, or if you have anybody or any company that you think should be a guest on our podcast, email them to us and contact us at blacksintechnology.net. Until next time, remember, tech yourself before you wreck yourself. Take care and have a good night.
Blacks in Technology.
Blacks in Technology. Blacks in Technology. Blacks in Technology. Blacks in Technology. Blacks in Technology.